Minnesota is the twin city. It's the twin city. So that right there is the primary point of a sign of the time, because the national leader is a Gemini. Okay? Gemini is representative of the twins. Okay? Follow me on this. So, there's a duality that's expressed through the sign Gemini. And if you study Donald Trump, who was in my dream a few nights ago, but I'm gonna leave that for writing purposes. If you studied him, you'd know that he is a duality figure. And I'm going to keep it closely related to what's happening right now, because he has a history of not wanting to deal with black people on a together thing. He wants to deal with black people as an isolated thing. This was proven in his approach. Well, first, his attitude towards the Central Park Jogger 5, the Central Park 5, right? Second, his doings in the zoning of regions and real estate for black people who were trying to make advances to different real estate deals to move around in neighborhoods, right? He wanted to ostracize blacks. Well, he did. He signed documents to ostracize blacks and confine them to certain regions to keep them confined to that area. Now, moving fast forward to today, he's in a spot of government, right? And the ironic part is he has and continues to put in place laws and things like that that put black people in better positions to better themselves, uplift themselves, pull themselves up by the bootstraps, do better business moves and make better moves for their as individuals and for their families. So you can look at this and say, oh, okay, I see the duality now. All right. So, I wasn't alive. I've only been alive for so long, right? I wasn't alive when they did the whole integration thing. Now, a lot of people may think that that's a great idea because America is a melting pot that unifies all different cultures and things of that nature. However, when you do the history of America, you will see that this is a nation that is not on the same accord. It wasn't built on the same accord to embody all of these different societies into one on a leveled playing field. This is a region that was dominated by certain nations from afar who you can say pillaged, we can say looted, you can say rioted against what was already here and took their lot and established what is now called America, and then everybody else just fell into place within the confines that was set up. However, so my point is, and I said this in a other video about the rebirth of America, is you have a bunch of different societies residing in the region of America. However, when you speak about national presence, it doesn't fully embody those societies, right? So some people still have their own cultures, their own ways of life. They practice their own types of education, so on and so forth. Okay, so Trump's ideology, right? And this is being filtered through a Leo ascendant. He has a Gemini soul, however, he's a Leo ascendant, which we're going to get into, right? His ideology is separate the blacks from the whites, etc., etc. And then they'll have the opportunity to build their own and do what it is that they want to. Now, I know what some of y'all are going to say. You're saying it right now. No, we tried that. We did that. What was it? Tulsa, Oklahoma, I believe. Don't quote me on that. When the black community was built, a lot of businesses from finance all the way down to regular mom and pop stores and stuff like that, the own American government burned it to ashes, right? Whites didn't want to see that happen. Okay, my attitude towards that is keep going. Don't ever give up. Like, that's my attitude. Again, I wasn't alive then. You know what I'm saying? So I also believe that education and technology, innovation, and things of that nature can enhance integration. However, when you don't have a foundation that identifies you as yourself and as the race that you've been put into a nation, categorized by, emphasized, largely highlighted in American establishments, the national part, then you don't have the best foot to stand on when it comes to stepping into rooms with other races that have that, right? So If you listen to my Rebirth of America, you can see how I explain the dismantling of the operations of these organizations is falling apart. It's eroding because, let's just face it, race baiting is corny. All right. But this is not about me. This is about the overall video. So back to Minnesota. This is a trigger, right? This is something that's been occurring. It's been reoccurring. It's a reoccurring theme. Black man killed by a white man. Not only white man, but a white official, a white person of authority. And no matter how much black people still forgive and say, yeah, you know, all lives do matter, but look at what's happening to our lives, right? It's so challenging and difficult to say both in the same breath because, again, this nation was not built on a common accord that states black people are even equal to white people. It just is what it is, y'all. It's a brief history lesson for some people who may not know this. It just is what it is. And again, I wasn't alive. So, you know, the whole messenger thing, just chill out. But that's the gist of it. So it's reached the point now. It's a trigger. It's set off now. And this may be Trump's year. And I know you may be like, well, there's so much trouble, there's so much chaos. Yeah. And I'm about to get to how that does not matter to him. That does not matter to him. But this is the straw that broke the camel's back. The people are tired. And these are not only black people out there. And I know I see a lot of confusion out there now, or a lot of upheaval, because they're like, oh, these are not all of the black people looting, and it's not all of the black people rioting and stuff like that, that there's whites out there doing it as well, because they see it as different. And I'm not justifying their actions, but they see it, they know if you destroy business establishments and stuff like that, you put dents in wallets, you put dents in people's well-being, the people who are oppressing black people. So, you know, my stance is pretty immoral on what's happening. I'm not out there destroying shit. But I'm just saying, I'm back to my stance of how I believe education and technological advancement and innovation can build integration. However, the foundation for black people needs to be found through this turmoil. So let's get to the whole Leo ascendant thing. So first I want to make a point that the difference between, two signs represent government. It's Capricorn and it's Leo. The difference between these two types of government is Leo is selected by the tribe, or elected, by the tribe. So it's like you go into an indigenous neighborhood and they're like, yeah, I want to speak to you about something. I want some spices. And they're like, no, you got to go speak to Longfoot. And you're like, oh, why I got to speak to Longfoot? Who's Longfoot? You got to speak to Longfoot. Stop talking about me. You got to go to Longfoot. So basically what they're telling you is you got to speak to Longfoot about situations like that, because that is our chief. That is who the tribe in this community has elected to be our chief and guide us through these things that you want to talk about. All right. Now, that is what Trump is like. Why? Because he is one of those Americans who, you know, got his inheritance. However you want to say he did it, he did it. Right. So you got to understand that's a large part of why he's so backed by the people that are here. Because he took that and went off to the races. Trump this, Trump that, Trump that, Trump everywhere. Regardless of what failed and what worked, he did it and he's still going. Right? So there's a difference between who is selected and who is elected. And Capricorn is more along the lines of the government that is selected. Meaning there are factors that will put them in office, such as proper etiquette. How do they say speeches? How do they move? How are they going to face relations that are foreign, right? What type of deals would they make? What's going to be good for business, even if it means selling out the people of the nation, things of that nature, right? That's more of a Capricorn expression because it's business minded. It's more structured. It's more rigid. It's more, you know, it's more cold. It's less expression of the heart. Right? Your tribe and your people in your community are not picking these people. You understand what I'm talking about? So I had to make that clear distinction. Now let's put more emphasis on him being a Leo ascendant. Now you see why, despite all of these attempts to take him down, X, Y, and Z, Trump I'm talking about, it just seems to not work. Despite what type of reputation he's building in some people's eyes, it's just like he still remains. Now, the thing that needs to be brought up here is he looks through the lens of, because that's what a ascendant is. It's the lens, it's the filter of how you perceive the rest of everything that's going on. So he's looking at this from a Leo perspective. You see already his characteristics is he's a grand stander. He likes it big. He wants gold in his palace. It's about him. It's a Leo show. And it's about his family. I heard they have reached astronomical numbers when it comes to wealth now. And so it's right there, and the proof is in the pudding, right? He cares about him and his family, and it's up to you if you want to go out and do the same type of thing. He's with the shits when it comes to violence. Oh, why? And this is the point that I need to make now. Why is he like that? Why is he like that? It's because the Leo age, right? Because we've been on the Aquarius age thing, right? And we know Aquarius is the opposite of Leo. So we're in, or should I say, during the Leo age. This is also known as the Stone Age. It was during the Mesolithic period. All right. So this is after the Ice Age. Everything melted, and then people got to fucking and repopulating the place, or, heavy population began, should I say. And this is a very primitive time, is my point. And this is not a shot at Leos. Don't get all nuts on me, y'all. It just is what it is. All right. So this is the era where, you'd billy club your chick over the head, drag it to the cave, grab him by the pussy, right? And do what you need to do. You go back out in the land. If they try to move on her, you're going to beat their ass with the billy club too. You know what I'm saying? It was just that time. So think Flintstone during this era, right? So there was the wheel probably wasn't invented then yet, right? A hammer was made from a wood stick and a rock tied to the top of it. You understand what I'm saying? The innovation and technological things that are associated with the higher octave mind of Aquarius and the intelligence was not there, right? Hence how Aquarius opposes Leo. So his mindset is primitive. It's like, listen, before I do that, let me mention how Leo has heart intelligence. Don't think that just because it's opposition of the higher octave of the mind, which is Aquarius, that it's not intelligent. It has an electrical spark from the heart. Leo and Cancer represent heartfelt emotions. It represents the back and the breast area and is protected by the rib cage, right? So that is more of a human connection thing. You can also tie this into the expressions of government that I just described. It's not robotic. It's not rigid. It's me, you interacting with each other. What do we feel consequently from that? You understand? So he looks at it like, look, y'all with the shits, go out there and fight for what you believe is right. Take care of yourself. Go get what's yours. Take care of your families. And it's whatever, because that's what it was in the Leo age. You gotta think about it. This is right after the dinosaurs left. They might have been still a few of them lingering around that they might have had to stab up and take down. You understand what I'm saying? Some flying dragons and shit. Like, so it's not, there's no real care about what people may think or want to reason about. You understand what I'm saying? So that's why it's such a huge thing in the Twin City that's going down. White man's foot on a black man's neck. White man's knee on a black man's neck. It's like, okay, that's it. That's the straw that broke the camel's back. Now we're going in. And he's like, it's just happening. You understand? And he's not going to step in until it gets to the point where military is needed. Right? He's not saying, oh, it's wrong. Right? It's a Leo thing. You wanna bang out for your family? Go ahead. You wanna bang out for you and what you believe in? Go ahead, because that's pride, that's heart involved. You understand what I'm saying? So there you have it on that aspect. And with the rebirth of America being, or the solar return of America being the ascendant Aries, it's more fiery. So he's more in tune with the whole individual act of things. And the action relative to the heart is being shown through the internet, which is ruled by what? Aquarius. Remember I said Aquarius is mimicking the code of Leo. So what it did is it has captured the primitive soul taking action on the land and showing it to you through its digital technology.